I mean, it would be like payroll would go to hit our bank account and nothing would hit. And so it's like, I don't think there's any money anymore.
Welcome to the Know Your Ship podcast, presented by eHub. I'm your host, Frank Dolce. This is the one and only Allyse Jackson with Beehive Meals. We were talking about this when you came in. I happen to know your husband, Adam, through a completely different circumstance, which is kind of fun. And so when you go back and talk to him, then now you can make
now I'll make because he was like, who are you going? I'm like, I don't know. I'm doing Testasol.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, there's nothing wrong with that. Okay, so I want to talk about, obviously, Beehive Meals, and I want to talk about all of the growth and success. I really want to talk about some of the business lessons you've learned, because I think it's really interesting. You're like the unwilling entrepreneur, and you don't have necessarily a background other than maybe in your family a little bit of entrepreneurship, and so, but you've done an unbelievable job, and you've kind of this discovered talent. Mm-hmm. So I want to talk about all of those things, but let's go back a little bit farther than that.
Okay.
Are you a Utah native?
I am. So I grew up in Layton. I will put the T in there. I purposely have to do that. I grew up in Layton by the mountain. No, yes. I grew up in Layton.
Yes.
I went to Layton High. My husband did as well. So Adam also grew up in Layton. He went to Northridge. There's an age gap between us. We met when I had just graduated high school at 19. He's 27. So 8 years. And
you are much more mature than Adam.
No, I tell people all the time, I don't know why he married me. I was so immature. I've matured a lot over the last 12 years. That's
great. Love it.
So we both grew up in Layton. My dad was an entrepreneur. And he was in land development. And so like my junior high kind of years were like the 07, 08, like crash of real estate. And that was like really ingrained in me. Like it was like a huge hit to my dad's business. And it was very like either feast or famine. And just seeing the stress that it put him through, I was like, I never want to be an entrepreneur.
Yeah.
I don't want to marry an entrepreneur. I want nothing. Like
you want stability.
I want you to have as stable, air quotes, as a 9-to-5 job is, right?
Yeah.
I'm like, I just want to marry somebody who just gets their paycheck and comes home. And I married Adam, who is not that. Well, and to some extent he is.
Did you know that when you married him? Was he an entrepreneur then, or was he getting did he have a steady paycheck? Yeah.
So when we got married, so background on Adam, he had a dad who was in banking finance. So the very stable 9-to-5.
Yes.
And then his mom is an entrepreneur. And it was kind of this mix between his dad was able to have the stability that allowed the mom to kind of go out and take some risk. And then some would work, some would not. And so it was kind of this balance, right? Well, Adam is much more, I think he's a good mix of his parents, which is a great thing. But he is definitely that entrepreneur at heart. So when we met, he had already finished his undergrad at BYU. So he had moved down to Provo to do that, moved back to Layton where he's from, and he was getting his master's at the U, his MBA. And he was working a 9-to-5 job in Ogden at Market Star. And he would it was the executive MBA program. So he'd, work during the day and then do school at night. So I thought I was marrying somebody that was going to be the corporate kind of ladder.
Yeah.
And we got married and
and then boom.
Yeah. Well, so there was actually a lot of things that happened so we got engaged. He had this, job at Market Star. Then he was offered a job at a different tech company, more in the Salt Lake area. And he took that job as really well paying. And he was there for about 3 months and then they cut his whole division. So it was we were about to get married and he lost his job. And it was kind of that stable 9-to-5 job isn't as stable as it.
Yeah.
And so we actually went our first year of marriage where Adam didn't have a job. He could not get, he interviewed for hundreds of jobs probably. Yeah. It was a situation where he didn't have enough work experience, but he had too much schooling. It was like this weird, like, well, you are going to be an MBA. Like, if we hire you, you're just going to leave us, like, once you finish. So it was this weird thing. He ended up back at MarketStar after a year of searching, and he went into email marketing automation, which eventually landed him down at Qualtrics about a year later, which kind of really was like this roadmap to actually how Beehive Meals ended up starting. So I feel like everything happens for a reason.
Absolutely.
But yeah, so when he was in his MBA program, he had an entrepreneurial class that the teacher was he'll always describe it like he's this like hippie dude, long hair, wouldn't wear shoes to class type kind of guy.
Teaching entrepreneurship.
Yeah. And he'd like sit on your desk with his feet in your face. That's kind of, I mean, I wasn't in the class, but that's how like he describes it.
Now, are you telling me this happened at the U?
Yeah. And
this didn't happen at like,
this was his favorite class.
At Cal Berkeley?
No.
I mean, that's a thing you'd think, like at Oregon.
Right?
Or something. The guys walking around, no shoes on.
I don't get it.
Okay. But it was his favorite class.
It was his favorite
instructor?
class. Yes.
Yeah.
And
okay.
basically the class was he would bring in successful entrepreneurs and they tell their story, right? It's more like the motivational side of things. And he always tells a story of the founder of Skull Candy came in, and he talks about like it's all about the story and telling a good story and all these different things. And then his entrepreneur professor would basically compare entrepreneurship to surfing. Essentially, it's like when you're learning to surf, you're not going to go out and catch the biggest waves, right? You're going to practice on the white water, the baby waves.
Baby steps.
Like you're not going to go catch that massive, like once in a lifetime wave right off the bat. And so entrepreneurship, treat it kind of like a game, practice. And if you make $5, you win. And it was this thing where their final in class there were no like true tests or any of that. The final was take a piece of paper and you tell me if you're going to start a business or not someday. And it's like, yes, you pass, essentially. So he writes his yes on there. And from there, it was kind of like, okay, like Adam got this, like, okay, and the whole thing was like, you don't have to like burn the boats. You don't have to quit your job to be an entrepreneur, right? And I think I needed that a little bit where my goal was actually to go into dental hygiene. So I was working in a dental office as an assistant.
Okay.
Adam was working in tech, and he decided to start a wooden sunglass company. And so
was that what he wrote on the paper? Yes, I'm going to start a wooden sunglass.
It was just yes. Like he didn't have to say what it was.
Oh.
It was just like literally like, will you start a business someday?
Oh.
Yeah.
That was the final.
That was the final.
Oh.
So, right?
Yeah.
His favorite class, obviously.
No kidding. Yes. Perfect.
So he takes, so basically he went to Alibaba, which is like basically where you can just source anything from, overseas. He found these generic wooden sunglasses and threw it up on an Indiegogo campaign, which is essentially like it's a crowdfunding type Kickstarter. And he was able to drive, I think it was like $9,000 or $10,000 in sales in a 30-day period, with that campaign. And that was kind of like a fun little like, oh, like we got this money and like now we get to go buy the product, and we didn't really have to like put a whole lot of our own capital into it. And so that was kind of like our dip our toes in the water, right, of entrepreneurship.
Yeah.
And after that, we had a couple partners in that business. And each year for 2 years, we ran Kickstarter campaigns. And those did really well. They were some of the most funded sunglasses on Kickstarter. We did about $270,000 on one of them and $280,000 on another. And those sunglasses, at that point, they weren't just generic Alibaba. They were like actually had... they were really cool. They were wood. So you could do like engravings and etchings down the side. So we had different designs. And then the second round was like a titanium front with wood sides. So it was kind of cool. And it was a good thing for me to see that like we both still worked full time. And this was very much like the moonlit business after hours.
Dipping your toe.
Yeah.
In the water. Yeah.
Yes. So we ended up exiting that business. We sold it to a partner. Partnerships, we learned a lot in that business. Partnerships can be really hard.
Well, yeah. Okay, I want to hear the rest of the story, but tell me quickly. Tell me about some of those challenges with partnerships. Yeah.
So when we started the company, essentially, and I can't even say I started it. This was Adam's company, right? He started it. And when he initially started it, he went to a buddy of ours. We both play soccer. We played soccer with this friend and his wife. And it was kind of like, he was more artistic design, creative. Mm-hmm. So he was able to create the actual designs on the things. He helped create, content from video and all these different things. So we brought on an initial partner and he was great. And once we did our first Indiegogo campaign, it was $9,000 or $10,000. We ended up somehow getting in contact with this other guy that was like, and again, I was very much like, we are not putting our own money into this. Mm-hmm. Like this has to sustain itself. Mm-hmm. And this guy offered us $6,000, and I think it was like for a third of our company. And I was like, and we were like, yay, like $6,000.
Amazing.
Like, yeah, that's so much money.
Yeah.
And so we gave him a third of our company, and he was designed to be the money guy, like kind of just he was not going to be operating the business at all. It was very much like he'll fund things. So he gave us $6,000. And so that was after the first campaign. So we launched our Kickstarter campaign with the etchings down the side, about $270,000 in 30 days. It was kind of like, oh, okay, like great. And with Kickstarter, I don't know if you're familiar, like you get the money like after the campaign all obviously ends, and then you have to place your order, and then you've got to wait for it to be manufactured, and then you ship it. We wanted to expedite that process, so it wasn't such a waiting game for customers.
Yeah.
So as soon as it was nearing the end of the campaign, we wanted to already get our order in, but we didn't have the money. Mm-hmm. So this is where our money partner came in. It was great. Like I needed maybe 50 to 80K of cash right then to place, our order with our manufacturer, and then we'd pay him right back as soon as the Kickstarter funds came to us. Mm-hmm. So we needed that for that first round. And then, next year we went in, did the 280K again. By that time, though, we were also selling online, had our own thing. We were becoming more financially stable, I would say, that we got to this point where it's like, well, I don't need his money anymore. And at that point, it was this weird thing. And I don't actually know how this really happened. But at some point, our initial partner, that was the creative guy, ended up getting bought out by... He wanted to be done essentially. Mm-hmm. So we bought part of his percentage and our other money partner. So we were now 50-50 partners essentially.
With the money guy.
And it was really hard because Adam and I were the ones actually operating the business. Mm-hmm. And we would run these Kickstarter campaigns and they'd do really well. And it would be this weird, our money guy owned other businesses and he essentially wanted to just pull capital out of Westwood, mm-hmm. which was the sunglass. So it's like, well, if you're going to pull money out, I have to pull money out. Mm-hmm. And so now there's not money actually going back into the business to actually grow it. But we've got this 50% partner. And that was really hard. So we got to the point where it's like, okay, this isn't working. And we were actually going to purchase him out. And we went to him, we agreed on a price and we started going down the road of buying him out. And then he realized how much inventory we had. And we had a good amount of inventory. And I think it was just kind of then you guys aren't giving me a good enough value. And it's kind of okay, but you still have to sell the inventory. And so anyways, there was this point where it's we just couldn't do the relationship anymore. So we're like, okay, fine, you buy us out for the same price that we were going to buy you out. And we gave him 12 months to pay it. We made it really easy for him to pay it. It wasn't all at once. So it was mainly we just needed to get out of the partnership, mm-hmm. which I think was really hard because initially that was Adam's, baby. Yeah. And so after that, again, I feel like we went through that for a reason. And it was a really good way for us to understand how not to do certain things in a business. So we learned a ton. And after that, we knew we wanted to do something else. So I was all in on entrepreneurship.
Okay, so you've changed your mind a little about this.
But it was still this Adam still worked. By that time, we had a baby. So I was stay-at-home mom. I decided not to go into dental hygiene. And I was all in at that point. So we actually we got samples on a few different types of products. We looked at like a baby clothing company. We looked at a blanket company. We got samples and we're like, I don't know about this. And eventually, because it was always supposed to be Adam's idea. I don't know. It was like Adam was the entrepreneur. Yeah. So it was supposed to be his ideas. And so I kind of just like, he worked his 9 to 5. I was stay-at-home mom and we just continued life that way. But,
so was he at Qualtrics at this point?
Yeah. So
so you said that this kind of all...
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So we moved down to Provo and I had our first child in 2016. We lived in Provo. And this is kind of a fun piece to the story where when I was 6 months pregnant, I went into complete nesting mode. I don't know if your wife ever did that when she was pregnant.
Very familiar.
And so it's this like 6 month, like I am getting everything possible done before I have this baby. And I went in this, like, I'm going to prep freezer meals. We lived in a townhouse in Provo. We had a deep freezer in our garage there. And it was like, okay, I'm going to prep all these meals. It took me an entire week. I did all the planning, the shopping, the prepping. And in the end, I prepped about 80 freezer meals. And all of these served like 6 to 8 people. They weren't like small. And I'm like,
how many did you do?
80.
80 meals that would feed 6 to 8 people.
Yeah.
It's just the two of you, right?
Yeah, there's just the two of us. And I was going to have a brand new baby.
Wow.
So
how many would that cover you for a year?
Yeah, well, and that's what, like, when I got into it, I'm like, oh my gosh, this is way too much. Like, we probably could eat 2 of these a week. Yeah, for like a year. And so I quickly realized I overdid it. And I will say I have ADHD, and I think it's that like hyper focus, right? That it's like, if I'm going to go all in on something, I'm all in. I am in it.
Well, let me ask you one question about that. How did you know, like, where did you get trained to do freezer meals?
I mean, that's like, I feel like a very Utah, like, mommy thing. Like, I don't know. I mean, so I grew up, my mom was the type that always put a home cooked dinner on the table every single night. Even to the point where if they would go out of town for a week and leave us with a sitter, my mom would make the casseroles and freeze them, and that they would like pull out and bake them. So I think there is just that, like, I don't know, that like Utah mom.
Okay. So you had some experience with it. It's not like you looked it up online somewhere. You just had this knowledge of how, okay.
Yeah. So I make all these meals, and we were in Provo at the time. And we're members of the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints. And our ward at the time found out that I had all these meals. And so they call me in and they're like, we think you should be in compassionate service.
Okay, so for those who don't know what that means, explain compassionate service.
So basically in a ward, you have the women are a part of what's called Relief Society, right? And that's kind of all the women in the ward. But within that, there's a calling that's called compassionate service. And it's this individual in the ward who, if somebody is sick or has a baby or has a death in the family or something, like the ward, it's typically arranged that through the person doing compassionate service, like they find dinners or like service for that family or individual. So essentially they're like, oh, you can be in charge of compassionate service.
You have 5 years of meals.
Yes. So it was like, and being in Provo, babies were being born like every other week. You know, people would have surgeries or
every
get
other
sick.
week. That's being conservative.
No. Okay. Yeah. Okay. I thought, yes. No, seriously, there are baby blessings. I swear. Multiple a month.
It's constant.
It's constant. Okay. So what I would do is, you know, somebody would have a baby and I would cook one of the meals and make it warm and take it to them. And then I would leave them with like 2 to 3 meals to cook at a later time. Because it's like a lot of times when you get service, when some of these life events happen, it's like you get a lot of help the first week or two, right?
And then it's gone. Disappears.
And so it's kind of like I take them a meal and then I'd be like, when it all dies down, like here's a couple extras. And so that was really this first like inkling into the power of food and like how it can be used for service. So that was kind of the start of it. That was 2016. And at that time, Adam was working at Qualtrics. He ended up getting in contact with somebody there that I don't know if you've ever been familiar with the company Kaye. It was a soccer brand. street soccer brand from a long, long time ago.
No, I feel like I'm very familiar with this world of soccer, but that does not ring a bell.
So this company started out of BYU, and it was a group of friends. Anyways, it ended up dying off, but it was like this kind of like cool thing when I was younger, when my husband was younger playing soccer. And he happened to come in contact with somebody who had been involved with Kaye in the early phases. And he's like, oh, well, you should meet the founder and da-da-da-da. They got in contact. Well, this founder of Kaye also owned a business, a product and packaging design firm at the time. They did a lot of design for like big companies like doTERRA, Young Living, very like big MLM brands here in Utah that they'd create the products, source it for them, do all the packaging, all these things. And so they had a very talented team in-house to do all of that. And the idea was Adam's background is marketing, digital marketing. And it was like this idea that like very entrepreneurial, like that we can create products and then we can do spin-off brands and do like all these like small, like little product type brands. And so it was like Adam should come on and be the marketer for that. So Adam left Qualtrics, which led him to working for a small business here in Utah. He was there for about 2 years, and there were good ideas, but unfortunately, one of the ideas kind of put the entire company under, which is like super unfortunate when you think of small business that like, you go all in on something and it just, if it doesn't work, it doesn't work.
Yeah.
So it was very clear after about 2 years of him being there. I mean, it would be like payroll would go to hit our bank account and nothing would hit. Man. And so it's like, oh, I don't think there's any money anymore. And so it was very clear that that was not going to work out. And that was when Adam went to work one morning. I was at home. We had moved back to Davis County at that point to be closer to family because he was working in the Salt Lake area. And we had 2 kids. I had a 2-year-old and a 9-month-old. And I woke up one morning. They were still in bed. Adam had left for work. And I pulled up my phone and like the notes app on my phone. And it was kind of like, okay, like Adam's going to lose his job. Like, what am I good at that can make money? And so I literally labeled it things I'm good at.
Do you still have that?
No, I wish I did. No. I know. I do have the original Facebook post though. Oh, okay. So we'll get,
at least there's something.
Yes. No, I don't have that anymore. So it was things I'm good at. And there was like a list of like maybe 8 to 10 things, but like very homemaker type things like crocheting. I like to crochet, like baking is fun. And then like freezer meals was on there. And it's as I went down my list, it was kind of like, okay, what could I actually like scale or not even scale, but like do to actually make actual money. Like crocheting is a lot of work probably. And like how much are people actually
not much of a return.
No. Baking is a very like niche skill that I like to bake more of an enjoyment, not the stress of making somebody's birthday or like occasion.
Yeah.
So,
but I love a good bakery.
Right.
I mean, I found one today, as a matter of fact. Yeah. That is fantastic.
Yeah.
It feels like walking into a good bakery. It feels like, like that. Like the face you just made, like,
oh yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay.
Food is my love language.
Very nice. Okay. So baking,
Yeah. So, I get to freezer meals. It's like, okay, like I obviously at one point have prepped 80 by myself. And so it's like, I know how to prep a lot at once.
You're in charge of compassionate service.
I was. And so it was something I'm like, I could do all the shopping, I could prep it, and I could deliver it to people. Like, let's make it as easy as possible. And for the other people, not for me.
Yeah. No,
not for me.
Gotcha. Yes.
So I was kind of like, okay, like I can do this. So it was like an hour time frame between like getting up, writing this list down to being like, okay, like I have all the recipes that I already do because I prep freezer meals for myself. And so, but I didn't have any like pictures of this. So I went to Adobe Stock Photography and got just some like stock photos of some of
like
meals,
prep
like
meals
freezer meals and bags or finished meals. Yeah. Just stock photos. And I put together a picture collage and I threw it up on a mommy Facebook group in Davis County. And it immediately took off. So essentially it was like, hey, like I will, do all the prep and I will deliver these 10 different meals. Like it's, one all comes all together. I deliver it. Like it'll be delivered in a month from now. And I gave the price. And it immediately started. People were like, yes, please, please. And they're like, well, how do we pay you? And I'm like, oh, I don't know. So I hurried and set up a Venmo account. And because I didn't have one. And so I hurried and set that up. And I was like, okay, maybe pay me like half now and then like half when I deliver. Because I just need money to like get it started.
All the stuff. And
then I'm like, okay, I don't have a freezer. So then I had to like go to RC Willey, I think, and get like a big freezer. Because I didn't know what I was doing.
Wait, what happened to the freezer? Is this after? So you moved?
Oh, no. But like to deep freeze. So a deep freezer is like, it's a deep freezer, but like I need probably like more of a stand-up freezer to actually like put them on a shelf to freeze. Because if I throw them in a deep freezer, they're going to freeze all weird. So I had to go get a freezer. Well, then I like was super excited. Okay, so back up a little bit. Mm-hmm. First day, I did $10,000 in sales.
Wait, is this the same day that you... Tell me the time frame here. You got up in the morning.
I got up at like 7 a.m., posted this by like 8 a.m., and then you started getting sales in the same day? In day one, and I called Adam, or probably around like noon or 1, and I was like, I think I just started a business.
Wait, was Adam like this? No way. I'm the entrepreneur. Was he like, wait a second? He was like, I'm supposed to come up with that idea.
No, he was so supportive the entire time. And it was kind of like, oh, that's awesome.
It's so great because it probably was kind of sitting there in front of you guys. You just had no idea because circumstances didn't lead you in that direction.
Absolutely.
And then all of a sudden, here it is. So tell me, Adam went to work.
Yeah.
Did he still have a job?
Yeah, so he was still working. Yes, so he was still at the small business. It was just very clear it probably wasn't going to be lasting much longer.
Okay.
So I was trying to be proactive.
Is that part of you mentioned ADHD, or is that part of your just personality? Like, are you a planner? Are you a structure? Are you
Yes, I am. So like in our business now to this day, like Adam is the marketing side.
Creative.
I'm the operational. Like I love numbers. I love processes. Okay. I love budgeting.
Yes.
Yeah. So that's like I run the ops. He runs the marketing.
Gotcha. Okay.
Yeah.
Perfect.
So anyways, did $10,000 in sales. So this was beginning of August of 2019. I had given myself for a whole month, so till September, to actually do the deliveries, which I'm very grateful for. And I know Tess came in earlier and she was like, is it luck? Is it like, right? We were talking, is it luck? Is it grit? It's both, because I think I did things not realizing that they were like smart at the time, and I got lucky. So I gave myself time, because in that time, I remember telling family about what I just done. Mm-hmm. And Adam's mom calls me and she's like, you realize you can't do this out of your house, right? And I said, oh no, I had no idea. She's like, you need a commercial kitchen. And I'm like, oh, but like people sell stuff out of that. She's like, yeah, that's cookies and cupcakes. Like you can do that out of your house. You cannot do raw meat like out of your home kitchen. So it was like, oh, shoot, like I need a commercial kitchen. So we ended up finding a guy who did food trucks. Mm-hmm. And it was something where like he could prep all of his food in the morning in his kitchen, and then he's out during, the day selling. And then they come and need the kitchen in the evening and to clean up. And so it's like there was a time frame where we could go in that the kitchen's not being used. Mm-hmm. So we could put our freezers and our equipment in there. And so I found that guy. Then I found, as I was going through, because I still had to get like inspections and stuff and all these things. And I found out that I couldn't just have a food handler's permit as the owner of a food operation. I don't know. It was weird. I had to have this like food safety manager certificate, which is a college course that you can do at your own pace. But I had to do it through Utah State University. Mm-hmm. And so I like got the course, like it's kind of like an enroll, and you do it at your own pace and you take the test. Uh-huh. So I had to do that.
How long did that take?
I think I had to cram it in like 10 days type thing. Oh my God. Because I had to get it done.
Semester long course?
Yeah, to get it like in.
Because you're in business.
I'm in business now. And thankfully, like Adam's background, he was able to get me a website up from so we hit September, I had a website. So I was like actually able to collect money through there. And, I didn't have to do Venmo. And so we get into things in September, and I, start selling. We're like, okay, this is going well. Like, this is such a fun little side thing. Like, I could do this like once a week, like post the menu, take orders, all these things. And it's like, this could just be like, I could do this a couple times a month.
And you're just thinking kind of local.
Yeah.
Where you could go deliver.
Yeah, absolutely. This was all like Davis County, within like 20 minutes of my house type. Like, that was the farthest deliveries. So, at that point, it was around September, October-ish that Adam ended up leaving the business that the job he was at. And it was something that it's like, okay, great. I'm covering our bills, like our necessities with Beehive Meals at that point, that it's like, you can go find something else. You can take your time. You could even come up with your own business idea, because you're the entrepreneur. I'm not the entrepreneur.
You're like, Adam, here's how you start. Get up at 7 o'clock in the morning.
And launch by 8.
Write your list of things you're good at. Launch by 8.
I don't know what's so hard.
The playbook is right there.
So he's, still looking for jobs, or still like this. His mom's an entrepreneur, so he went and helped her in her business for a little bit. Obviously, he was still helping me here and there. But I was only one person. I could only take on so much, because I was doing all of the shopping, prep, delivery all by myself. And I have 2 kids.
Yeah.
So, and we also thought it would be really good timing to get pregnant again. Like, this was planned.
I mean, I couldn't agree more. Like,
because it was like we had a 9-month-old, and it was like, we want them close together. And so, and you don't have a job. So like, this would, I think we thought that it was like, we can go on really cheap insurance maybe, because you don't have a job. I don't know, that we're like, we should have a baby now, and they're really cheap.
Absolutely.
So
very logical.
I got pregnant too. And so I'm like first trimester, which I don't know how your wife was. I was like, could not get out of bed, tired. I didn't get nauseous, but like, or throw up or any of that. But it was like, I could sleep my entire day away. So I'm still doing Beehive Meals, chipping away at it. And by the end of 2019, having started actual deliveries in September, we did total about 30,000 in Shopify sales. And then I don't know how much on Venmo.
And then that other thing.
And then that other stuff. So like about $30,000. And so, go into 2020, it's about February timeframe. Adam was being recruited at the time to go work at the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints in their missionary department. Because of his skill set in marketing, email automation, they're rolling out that same software that he's a specialist in. And so anyways, it was a really cool opportunity that he was going to have. And so I hired my first 2 employees in February of 2020. I was like, okay, I was getting consistent, customers coming back every single month.
Yeah.
It was growing by word of mouth, that it got to the point where I'm like, okay, 1, I'm pregnant. 2, Adam's going to start a new job. Like 3, there was enough money in the business to hire a couple people.
Yeah.
So I hired a couple part-time girls to help me in February. And then March hits, and March 16th of 2020, it was actually, 1, it's when everything shut down. 2, it's the day Adam started his job at the church. So he literally showed up to the church office buildings, walked in, and they're like, here's your laptop, go home.
Yeah, beat it.
Like, go work from home now.
Yeah.
So he's home now, and it was like just nuts. As far as like, I mean, to go back to March of 2020, where you can't leave your house. When you do leave your house to say go to the grocery store, there's nothing on the shelves. So there's all this like fear and scarcity in the world. And we just started seeing, I was still doing sales by like posting on the Facebook group and saying like, hey, I have next month's, like, here's the menu, like, here's the dates. And at that point, we were just seeing like, instead of doing maybe $10,000 a month in sales, it was like 30,000. And it was like, at that scale, I'm like, it doesn't sound like a lot right now, but it's like, that was a lot for us then. That's to go from 10,000 to 30,000 in a month.
Absolutely.
Especially when food is scarce.
Yeah.
And it's like, oh, okay, well, so 2020 continues. Adam's working at the church. I was pregnant, and we just started seeing month over month over month growth. And at that time, it was a situation where, if you remember, we were renting from a guy who did food trucks, his kitchen, and the food truck industry basically shut down. So he was seeing us growing, and his business kind of ceased to operate. And I was about 7 months pregnant at the time, and he calls Adam. He didn't call me. He called Adam. And he says, hey, I've been thinking, and I think I'm going to get into the freezer meal business, and I'm going to do this with or without you. And it was kind of this like, oh, okay, well, like, I guess let's meet and like talk through this, because that's shocking to me.
Yeah.
And so we go and meet with him, and his whole idea was that he wanted to be a mass producer. He saw so much potential in what we were doing, and he just wanted to mass produce. He wanted to take over that and then basically find all these women like me who are a dime a dozen who could sell to all their friends. Kind of think of like that MLM model, that it's like, I'm just going to find a bunch of women who will do parties and sell the meals, and I'm just going to produce them. That was kind of his pitch to me. And that I wouldn't have to now worry about my manufacturing or producing the meals. Like, I could just focus on selling. But then I'm going to have 8 million other competitors, right?
Yeah.
In the market. And so we did not like that pitch.
That didn't resonate.
No. And so we ended up, we knew it wasn't going to work, and we knew his kitchen wasn't going to be available to us much longer. So we were pretty quick, and we found a place in Layton. It was 1,200 square feet. We thought it was massive. And we're like, hey, we could put our kitchen in here. And we were under construction on that. Basically, like, Adam would work his 9 to 5 during the day, and then at night he was doing the one on construction on the building, because we were just too cheap to pay somebody.
Yeah.
It's like he's never done construction in his life, and he's like framing and drywalling and painting.
You can find it. You can just Google it.
Yeah. So
how to frame a wall.
Seriously. So he is doing construction on our new little building, and it's about 2 weeks out from being done. I was very pregnant at the time, and I show up to the kitchen we were still renting, because we were kind of trying to draw out conversations to make it until we could get into new.
Yeah.
And then I think it became clear that we weren't going to move forward. And so my landlord at the time was like, okay, you have 30 days to get out. And it's like, okay. Like, we were about 2 weeks away from our new building, so it like worked out.
Okay. Yeah.
And then there happened to be he was frustrated with me because I don't think I reacted very much to that. It was kind of like, okay. And so we kind of got into it a little bit, and I had 2 of my employees there, and we're trying to get deliveries out the door. So I leave first. I walk out, and my employee, my cute, sweet employee, I guess she slams the door on the way out. And he comes storming out, and he says, like, you do not slam the door, da, da, da. And my cute employee says to him, well, if you weren't being such a jackass.
Yeah.
And he's like,
seems
okay,
pretty reasonable.
You have 3 days.
Oh.
So that was over Memorial Day weekend.
Oh.
So it was a Friday going into Memorial Day weekend, and we had to basically be out by Monday.
Yeah.
And he locked us out of the building. We didn't have access to any of our equipment, any of our food, anything, because there were codes. He changed them all. Anyways, so there was a 2-week period where we had to function out of our house. And at that time, I had invested in some commercial type freezers. And so we had to move those into our garage. And then I would like run extension cords throughout the house to plug them in, because you can't trip the breakers. If I put them all on one it would trip it. So I have like extension cords running throughout my house to actually power my freezers. You know, I have my employees coming over to my house to prep. And at that time I had hired a nanny to help with my kids. And so it's like they're running around. It's like, oh my gosh, this is chaos. Wow. And we ended up making it through, got into our new space. I had my baby, and
a side note,
went back to work 2 days later. And basically 2020 was just nuts. We continued to see growth. And by the end of 2020, we hit our first, so we did $1 million in sales in 2020. So our first full year in business. And going into 2021, pandemic was still happening. Mm-hmm. Like, things didn't slow down. And at that point, it was about early in the year that I went to Adam and I was like, I need you full time in the business. Like, I can't do this without you. And
it's a real thing. Like,
yeah,
it's a real thing now. It's not like,
no, this isn't my cute little business.
Facebook
like
post,
we did $1 million and like we're growing. And so I go to him and he's like, okay, so he goes to quit and they're like, no. Like, we're aware, like, you can still help your wife. Like, we're aware that you're spending some of your time doing that, but we also need you here. Like, because it would be hard to replace his position. And, like, anyways. And so he's like, okay, I'll stay. Because I'm like, how do you say no to the church? And so 6 months go by, and I was like, no, like, I really need you. Like, I can't do this without you full time. And so he goes back. He ends up finding somebody to replace him. Like, he onboards him, gets him in a good spot. So he left his employer in a really good spot. He came on full time, and we continued to see growth in 2021 to the point that we did about 8 million in sales that year. So
you go from 30,000, 19, a million, 20, and in 2021,
8 million.
8 million.
Yeah. And that was a blur. I had a new baby.
And are you just in Utah?
Yes.
Are you just delivering in Utah
I'm trying
now?
to think. Yes, that all would have been Utah. Maybe we would have opened up Idaho at the end of that year, I think.
New baby.
We were doing all...
Did you decide to get pregnant again at this
No, this was like... So we do have 4 kids, but I have a 9-year-old, a 6-year-old, a 5-year-old, and then a 1-year-old. So we now have there was the gap.
The final was just a little more like, maybe we should plan this out.
Yeah, maybe we shouldn't have another baby right now.
See, you learn.
That's also planned.
Experience. Yeah, absolutely.
So yeah, that was kind of like the early stages. We've continued to see growth every single year. We got into a point where we serviced 5 states, doing all of our own. I had about a fleet of about 20 vehicles that serviced Utah, Idaho, Nevada, Arizona, and Colorado. And I was really proud of that. And it was also a huge liability to have drivers on the road.
No kidding.
And super stressful when it, say, with snow or just like bad weather or a tire pops or whatever.
Yeah.
So whatever. As we looked at wanting to scale and grow more, it was like, we've got to figure out something else. So we ended up doing some pretty heavy research into what it would take to ship frozen meals. Because when we ship frozen, like, our customers expect it to arrive frozen, right? It could arrive like at safe temperatures and be a little soft, but like they want it frozen. So I've got to get it there frozen. And so we tested all sorts of packaging, all sorts of different methods, dry ice packs, everything super insulated. And we, about 6 months of testing, we were able to, just this last year, so in 2024, September of 2024, we were able to turn on shipping through like UPS and FedEx.
Yeah.
And that allowed us to get to 12 states. So basically anywhere from Utah that we could ship ground within 48 hours. And so that opened up like California, Oregon, and Washington. And after that, it was kind of like, okay, like, how do we continue to expand? And we've had lots of different, we looked at trying to stretch our transit to 3 days. Like, can we get stuff frozen in 3 days?
Keep it frozen in that.
And there were tests that proved we could, and then there were tests that we couldn't prove. So it's like, no, we have to consistently do this. So we can't do 3 day. We have to stick with 2 day. Then we were able to, continue to get creative. We worked with both of our carriers, and we went to them and it's like, okay, what are the best rates you can get us 2 day air? Because essentially, like, that is our key to opening up more states. It gives you guys more, like, we're doing X amount of volume already just in so few states. Like, you let us open up, you get our exclusive, like, all these things. And so we were able to strike a deal ultimately with UPS is who we're able to. And we got rates that allow us to now ship to 24 states, 12 of those being 2 day air. So anything west of the Mississippi. And we are still working on pulling off nationwide. It's just this matter of not growing too quickly right? We got to be smart.
I mean, yeah, because your growth has been pretty slow up
Yeah.
to this point. Yeah. We wouldn't want to go too quickly.
Well, what's funny is people, whenever I talk to them about like our growth, and it's, we went from 1 to 8 million, and it's like, that was really exciting. And then after that, like we've continued to grow, but it's been more like 25 to 40% growth year over year. And I'm like, that was boring.
Oh, what's wrong with us?
Now we're in like because we've opened up more in our shipping, like we're in a bigger growth this year. And it's like, oh, this is exciting. This is the fun stuff.
Well, I mean, it is kind of exciting. And obviously the shipping side is exciting for us because people think of shipping as kind of a necessary evil, and they don't always manage it as well. So I bet it's surprising to understand and to dive into that world about how critical the shipping and logistics component is.
Yeah. And I think there's been this aspect so we used to do, like I said, all of our own deliveries, but so it's like we're loading up everybody's stuff in the morning. My vans are going out. They're, dropping it off at people's doorsteps. So it's been this like, I don't know. I kind of geek out on I'm the ops person in our business. And it's like, I love the processes and the operations and the logistics and all these things that like come together. So it's actually this fun, like I love running operations. Like I love that we're our own manufacturer.
Yeah.
Like I love that we're our own logistics, like, or at least now we are our own warehousing. But before we used to be, if I didn't have the liability of drivers on the road, like it's fun to, I don't know. I geek out about it.
Yeah. Well, I think one of the funny things about your story is Adam finally got the stable 9-to-5 steady paycheck, and you were like, I need you.
Right?
You can't have that job that we've always dreamed of.
That job. No, his job was so, like, he was working from home. We had really good benefits. It was very
I can
stable.
Imagine.
Like,
yeah.
It was, and like they paid him well. Like it had, like they valued him. Like really, we talk about
all of
this.
The things.
It's like this hard thing where we always talk about that would have been like his perfect retirement job almost. Like that it's like you don't need to actually work, but like you go work somewhere just because you love it. But now I'm like, now I could never have you have a 9-to-5 job because I need you to just do whatever I want whenever I want to do it. Like I can't have the tracked PTO and right. Being your own business owner is way better.
Way better in lots of ways, but there also can be sleepless nights.
Absolutely. And that's
all the other stuff.
I mean, it is this like super trade-off, right? That it's like, the sleepless nights, the stress of everything, the weight of the business, it could all go away, and all these people rely on me, and like we provide.
What if you don't make payroll? I mean, you had that experience on the other side.
Yeah,
when
and
there's no money showing up in your bank account.
Yeah, and like just trying to be transparent with your team while also like keeping the hype, while also being realistic, and all the things that come with owning a business. And gratefully, we have a very strong team, like a very amazing team. I mean, I have a couple of my people that just hit 5 years, and we're a 6-year-old company, and they've been through it all with us, essentially, like all that growth. And they're now, directors at my company. They started at the bottom and now they're actually running things. Yeah. So it's pretty awesome.
That is amazing. And so your educational background really lent itself to being an entrepreneur. I mean, you had all of this significant training, right?
Yeah, absolutely. I always tell people that my training came from reading business books on how to run a business and Shark Tank, in the terms of I watch Shark Tank.
I know. I love it. I love the
That's my
Shark
background.
Tank MBA. Well, I mean, I know there's something about that. Obviously, the education portion is important. And Adam has an MBA. So there's something to that. But you also just have a knack and are engaged in kind of this operational stuff. It feels like that's just something you really enjoy doing. And so you had a chance to learn on the job and really lean into your strengths that maybe you never knew you had.
No, and I didn't know I had. So like, it's been so cool because we knew Adam was a digital marketer. That's like what he got schooling in. Like that's what he did his profession. Like that's what people paid him to do. Where for me, like going into this business, it was kind of this like, I don't know, what am I good at? And I was able to really lean into what I was good at, which was one, I'm my first customer. Like I truly am. I was telling somebody earlier today, people always ask me, do you actually cook your meals? And I said, yes, like I do. Like it's Friday. I've cooked 5 this week. I've cooked Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday night dinners. And then I threw in one, I think on Tuesday for my lunches this week. So it's like, I literally use my meals 4 to 5 times a week. And so I'm my first customer. I know what our customers want. And I have been able, and I know, like, I don't know, food is, I mentioned, it's my love language. Like, I love good tasting food. So I've been really heavily on like the R&D side of things. And then just like operationally, I didn't realize that I am very like system and process oriented. And then again, I've made a really conscious decision to hire certain people or build people up within the company who complement my weaknesses.
Yeah.
So it's like, I know my strengths. My weaknesses are very much apparent, and I don't necessarily feel like I need to work on them because I have other people that can do them.
Absolutely. You can't be everything.
No.
And so you find the people who can help support. Okay. Let's talk about a few of the business learnings.
Yeah.
As the unwilling entrepreneur that you are. Okay. One thing I think of is if you started selling these meals and they were terrible, you would never have repeat customers.
Absolutely.
So tell me about the importance of quality in your product.
Yeah. So I think this is a good balance between like your MVP, right? Your minimum viable product that you can get out there, but also it needs to be quality that people come back. So, and that's where we've been in business for over 6 years. So that's 72 months plus. And I have people who have ordered 72 plus months from me. Like, I have people who have ordered since day one, still ordering from me. And that wouldn't happen if you don't have a quality product. So there are aspects of thinking about food, like we can source from all different types of vendors, manufacturers, wholesalers, and we make conscious decisions to our product is we provide the base of the meal. So the bulk of my meal is the meat. So I've got to have quality meat. Like, I cannot cut corners. I could tell you I could save $20,000 right now a month by switching to a different chicken. Like, just in my chicken cost. Things like we source all of our beef from local ranchers here in Utah. So it's like being able to make sure that where it counts in a product quality, you have to get there. Even from a standpoint of, we used to, when I first started, and this is because I didn't know any differently, but it's like, I buy from our wholesalers and it's like I'm buying the name brand ketchup and mustard and Worcestershire sauce and barbecue sauce and all these things. Well, if you look at those ingredient lists, a lot of times they have preservatives and additives in their colors, dyes, all these things that are unnecessary. They're necessary for their product because they need like a shelf stable, something that can sit on your shelf for 2 years. Yeah. Where I'm producing a product that is produced, like we prep it fresh, it's frozen, and then it's stored in a freezer. I don't need preservatives. So we have now, we create all of our own sauces, like ketchups, barbecue sauce, Worcestershire sauce, all these things. We create our own instead of, some of our meals will use like traditionally like a jam or fruit preserves. We now take fruit and like puree it and like make the sauce with that, because I don't need all these additional preservatives in my product. So the quality is something that I just think as companies scale and grow, like making sure that what matters is taken care of.
Yeah, that's super meaningful. One of the other things you talked about is people. And so how critical has that been in your growth to surround yourself with the right people? So
it's everything. When I first started the business, we always joke, Adam and I, that like the hardest part of what we do is managing people. Like, it is not like when I started Beehive Meals, like I signed up to make freezer meals. I didn't sign up to manage people. But so that is truly the hardest. Like Adam loves what he does in marketing. We've hired a team underneath him, and that was kind of forced on my part. Adam did all of our marketing by himself the first 4 years of the company. Even on top of working his 9 to 5 job.
Right.
So like he maybe had we outsourced social media, like posting. But other than that, he ran all of our ads, emails, everything himself. And so he finally had to bring in a team, and he doesn't want to manage people. So we had to bring somebody in to manage the marketing team, essentially, because he just wants to do his thing. And it works, and it's great, and that's his strength. So we have to. So for me, I have, I mentioned that I have a couple employees who have been here for about 5 years. So a lot of the time that I've had employees. And one of them in particular, she now runs my entire ops. And when I hired her, she was hired on from 8 p.m. to 11 p.m. at night, just printing labels, helping create delivery routes for the next day, helping kind of stock product. And it was this idea where she could put her kids to bed. She had 4 kids. Her youngest were 18-month-old twins. And she could put them to bed, and she could go into work for a few hours to help supplement their family income. And she worked for me for a couple months doing that. And it was like, I just like recognized this thing in her that it was like, oh no, I need you like helping me build this thing. So I approached her and offered her a full-time like office manager position. And it was enough to be able to, that her husband was able to leave his job. And basically they like swapped roles. Essentially, she was going to be the one working and he would be the one kind of like helping more at home. And over the last 5 years, she's now grown significantly as a professional, and it's been really good. She's somebody that I just work so well with. She's so people oriented, and it's not that I'm not. I'm just more like numbers and operations, and so it's like I can connect with people, but like she has this knack that like she can just work so well. She can get like just connect at a deeper level with people. So it's really cool when we look at the dynamic of the team that we built, and everybody has their different unique strengths, and then we all complement each other. And we're also very heavily female ran, which is really cool. Especially when like, I don't know, sometimes you can get a lot of girls together and there can be like cattiness or things like that. But like, we don't have that. Have we had that in the past? Absolutely.
Yeah.
And we're to this point where it's like, I feel like we've been really able to identify personalities that work and that don't.
Yeah.
And being able to be okay with if it doesn't work, like we don't need to force it. And just really focus on the people that want to be here.
I think that's so important. And sometimes you make a mistake thinking that someone who has a lot of skill or experience or whatever it is that might be meaningful for a business, but culturally is a terrible fit.
Yeah.
And you try to hang on to that individual. And I think that I've just seen in my own experience how significant culture is to the success of a business.
Yeah.
Even if you think you have the most talented person, if there's not a good fit, it's not a good fit.
Yeah.
And you have to move along. So culture clearly is something you're thoughtful about as you're building.
Yeah, so my team did this without me knowing last year, but they applied us for Utah Business's best places to work for, and we got it. And so like that was just like, one, I think it's funny that like my team did that without me knowing. And like it was a lot of work, I guess, to go through the application process, but we got it. And I think it was they were so proud to like, because they all love being there, and we really do have such a strong team. And over the years, and to that point, like there have been people that we've had that it's like, oh, we couldn't function without them because they're so good at their job. But it's like once they're not there anymore, it removes this level of like stress or like animosity.
Yeah, everybody takes a breath.
And it's like, oh, we can function without them, and it's okay. And there's this aspect that when you focus on the people, a lot of the times we can teach a lot of the things that we do, but it's like, I can't teach you to be a good person or to be kind or these things that are maybe more about the individual that as I've built the business, I've become really clear on like, I want to show up to work and I want to be here every day. And if I don't want to be here every day because of certain individuals, I'm sure there's other people.
You're not alone.
And so like, we are just really aware of that.
Yeah. That's amazing. Have you always been Beehive, by the way? Was that the very first name?
So I'll tell you the origin. So I talked about that we had looked at doing other businesses after Westwood, right?
Yes.
We looked at a baby clothing
that was the
company.
Sunglass.
Yeah. We had looked at doing a baby clothing company, and I went, and it was going to be called Waddle Bee. And so we went to a BYU student and asked them to create me a logo, and it was Waddle Bee and had a cute little bee at the end. And I paid $400 for that. And so I was like, and then we never did anything with that business. So then when we started Beehive Meals, I was like, okay, well, I already paid for this logo that has the bee. So we have to do something that has to do with the bee. So originally I wanted Honeybee Meals. I don't know. Naming a business is the hardest thing. So it was going to be Honeybee Meals. That domain was not available. So then we were Honeybee Beehive Meals because I could get Beehive Meals domain name.
Yeah,
and
but
social
you really
handles.
wanted to be Honeybee.
I really wanted to be Honeybee. So then our name was,
Honeybee
Beehive Meals.
Yeah,
and it was about a year after that it was like, okay, we just need to drop the Honeybee. We are Beehive Meals. And even to this day, like, I don't know, it works. We're in the Beehive state. It's Utah. Beehive can be like considered a family, like unit, whatever. But
industrious.
I'm like, it was really, I paid for a $400 logo that I wanted to use.
Yeah. Well, Beehive works. It really works.
It works.
It feels like, I mean, not that you didn't have anything to do with this, but it feels like a lot of pieces fell into place.
Yeah.
And maybe that's just because you got aligned with something that was supposed to happen.
Yeah.
Anyway, who knows?
I think I can point to so many things that have happened over the course of all the years that it's like, oh, that, like when you go through something, it's like hard. And then it's like, oh, that had to happen because it actually led to this.
Absolutely.
So there were
agree more.
very clear moments of that.
In all of the challenges that you faced building this, and maybe even challenges you still face today, is the most significant challenge working with your husband?
Yes and no. So, I mean, there is this aspect. I love that my business partner is somebody that I fully trust. So, like, we are business partners in this, and we're marriage partners. And it's nice that we take very different pieces of the business. So, right, I fully trust him to run the operations or the marketing. I run the operations.
You say, hey, look, I'm...
No. He trusts me to run the operations. We know we have each other's best interests. There's no ulterior motives.
Right.
So that is amazing. There's also, it is really hard to separate the two. So to like come home at night and say we didn't agree with something in office, like a lot of times it'll carry over. Or it just, we go on the vacation and it never turns off. It's gotten a lot better over the last year or so as our team, we've been really focused on building up our team. And as our team has taken on more responsibilities from us, it's allowed us to let go a little bit more and to be more just that like husband and wife. But definitely it does linger.
That's a challenge.
Yeah.
What's another, as you look back, what has been another challenging experience in building this business? Is there something that you would have done differently?
I think that one, I do believe everything happens for a reason. I think there was this time period as we were growing. It was about probably end of 2021 to into like 2022 period where, we had that massive growth in 2021, continued to see growth the next year. And it was this like, oh, like, what am I even doing? I'm not capable of running this business. Kind of that imposter syndrome where it's like, I'm a stay-at-home mom. I have no business running this business, essentially. And so it was this period where I had a lot of doubt in myself. And I had actually looked at hiring. I hired somebody to take over the operations at that point who had the degree and the experience and all these things. And like when I reflect back on that, one, I don't think I was truly in a position mentally or emotionally to give that piece of my business up. So it's like I hired somebody and it ended up not working out. And there were several different reasons. I mean, one of them is I expected this person to come in and be me, in the sense that they knew like all the ins and outs of everything. And when they didn't, that was really hard for me, because it's like, well, you're not running it the way I would run it. Or like, I wasn't necessarily ready truly to give up the operations. And so it ultimately ended up not working out. I had to let that individual go. But I learned a lot through that process, that I am the person who is capable of running this business. And it was a very I did a lot of work. I ended up actually hiring a business coach to help me work through some of that stuff. And that was probably one of the best investments I've made into myself. Because again, I didn't have the educational background.
Traditional.
Traditional.
Yeah.
And so bringing on, and she focused not only on business coaching, but almost the identity piece of who I am as, CEO, mom, really diving into why I do what I do. Mm-hmm. And it's just more really getting me out of that, the imposter of I shouldn't be doing this, and really owning that I should be doing this.
You had to develop that belief in yourself. I mean, you were doing it.
Yeah.
Maybe you just didn't believe that you were doing it.
Yeah. Who am I doing this? Because I shouldn't be doing it.
I don't recognize this person.
No. Nope.
That is really interesting. Well, it is a great story, and it's a great success. And we're super proud of you being in the state and what you're doing and what you're accomplishing, and continued success. As you look back, one last question. What would you say so far has been the most rewarding aspect of running this business?
I think, a couple things. One, the power that food has is something that I saw that glimpse back in 2016, right? When I prepped all the meals, ended up giving a lot of them to our neighbors through compassionate service. But having our product in itself is a service. So when our customers pay for money, it is something that eases a burden in their lives. I've had times where moms come up to me and they'll be in tears telling me that my meals make them feel like a better mom, because it's they're maybe not traditionally a good cook, or they don't have the time, or all these different things, but they're able to put dinner on the table. There's that aspect that's really rewarding. The other aspect is, the way that we've grown and scaled the business has allowed us to give back. So we work with Utah Foster Care. Every single month we donate meals to them. Mm-hmm. Foster care is very near and dear to my heart. I have a niece and nephew that were adopted through the foster system. Mm-hmm. And then we donate to teachers. So we donated to 7 schools just at the beginning of the school year, where it's we donate to the entire staff, right? Admin, teachers, and they all go home with a set of meals and all these things. Mm-hmm. And so the donation and the giving back has been really, really cool. The other side of it I'm really proud of, and while I say managing people is the hardest part about what we do, it's one of the most rewarding pieces.
Absolutely, that's right.
To where the opportunities, I look at my team, and one, they are so bought in. They are so, I love being around them. And I just know that the opportunity that we've given them is I don't know, we're all just where we're supposed to be. It's just such a good place. And it's good to know that we provide that opportunity for them. It's again, we employ a lot of women. So a lot of moms, where it's we're able to be flexible with, kids' schedules, or, we give them their time that they need to go do things. And I don't know, there's just, and then they love when they're in work. I had a conversation with my director, one of them this week, where, her kids will ask her, it gets the weekend. It's do you work tomorrow? It's oh no, it's Saturday. And when kids don't have the concept of days and time. And when she got thinking about it, she's but do you have to go to work? She's no, I get to go to work. I love being here when I'm at work. Mm-hmm. And so it's this aspect that it's just really rewarding to have a place that people get to come to, mm-hmm. instead of have to come to.
And want to be there, and enjoy being there, and it's fulfilling, and all of the stuff. Well, if you can create a culture like that, then you've won something. Wow. Because that's difficult to do. Culture is challenging. And, I really align with the food I told you about my bakery obsession,
Yeah.
but food is a thing. It's a connector. In fact, in Italy, I always get this wrong. It's either voi or noi. But they have a saying I think it's noi connettiamo sul cibo, which is we connect over food.
Yeah.
And it's really true. And, having the family meal and everyone around and people and just in general. So you're doing amazing things. You're doing great things. We'll hope that you'll come back and see us sometime.
Yeah.
Maybe bring the other half. Maybe bring Adam along with you. And
I know. He doesn't ever go. I'm actually, because you met him when he was doing radio.
Yeah.
Which that was like his one thing that it's like he does not. And that was more like, this is a sports radio, dude. You're going to do this one, not me. Like, and that's his like one thing he's ever done. So I need to get him onto some of these podcasts.
Well, you've mentioned that you think of yourself as an introvert. I don't see that.
Oh, I'm an extreme introvert.
Are you? Well, you've done an amazing job. You tell a great story. And we really, it's been a pleasure visiting with you and having this conversation. So continued success. Go Beehive Meals.
Oh, thank you for having me.
One last thing. Where can people find you? How do we get meals?
So, social media, we're at Beehive Meals. Online, beehivemeals.com. You just order, we ship it to you, and it's easy.
Super easy and delicious.
Allyse
Jackson, thank you.
Okay, thanks for having me.
Thank you for listening to the Know Your Ship podcast presented by eHub. Don't forget to subscribe and leave a review.